Welcome everybody. We're a few minutes behind schedule, so I'm going to just go ahead and jump right into things. We might get a few more stragglers. So if you see somebody looking for a spot as they come in, feel free to scooch in so they can find a seat easily. Welcome to our Study Abroad session. My name is Justin Cater. I'm the Study Abroad Advisor here at St. Thomas. So my colleagues and I work with St. Thomas students on pretty much all things study abroad. Before I jump into this sort of overview session today, I'm kind of curious, has anybody here studied abroad themselves? Either in high school or undergrad, graduate school? Okay, a couple. Anyone want to share what kind of experience they did or where they went? It was that fun, huh?
I actually went to University of St. Thomas and studied abroad in London for the business program, and it was amazing. It was fabulous. So I was there in my junior year.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's what it's designed for. Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
I also did a London study abroad.
Cool.
It was a summer program, not a full semester.
Sure.
It was great.
Great. I love we've got folks representing the diversity of kinds of programs we can do. Awesome. Has anyone had a student already go through studying abroad? You won. Okay. Cool. So everybody, if you have questions, ask that guy. Yeah. Just kidding. Hopefully it was a good experience for them.
Yeah, the kid had a great time. He went to Costa Rica.
Awesome. Very cool. Was that here at St. Thomas or another institution?
No, he went through McAllister.
Okay. Excellent. We won't hold that against you.
I was going to wear my McAllister shirt right
That would be bold. Awesome. No, that's great. Yeah, study abroad is such a wonderful experience that this is really the time to have that kind of experience. After they graduate, you can work abroad, you can live abroad, you can do vacation travel, but it's not quite the same as being a student and being able to explore a place the way that you can with study abroad experiences. And so that's really important to obviously my office, but also St. Thomas is an institution, and we really try to incorporate study abroad into the St. Thomas experience. So it's not this sort of, I went to St. Thomas and then this sort of on the side I did this study abroad experience. But really when students talk about study abroad, it's a part of who they are as a student at St. Thomas. And hopefully some of the information we have today will kind of demonstrate that for you. So to start things off, I'm going to go ahead and show a quick video. This is made by some of our peer advisors, so they're students who have studied abroad and then come back to campus and work for our office to help promote study abroad and also kind of serve as that first point of contact for a lot of students who maybe don't know where exactly they want to start when they're exploring study abroad opportunities. And we did this sort of with, I don't know if you all are familiar with Mythbusters, so we kind of had that in mind, definitely not that high budget, but we came up with some study abroad myths that we wanted to debunk.
So if you're studying abroad in a country where English is not the primary language, you might be a little concerned about whether or not you're going to need to be fluent in the other language. And I can tell you right now that you do not need to be fluent or even have elementary level understanding of that other language. As a study abroad St. Thomas student, you will have to take a language because learning the language is a requirement in understanding that culture. However, coursework will be conducted in English, and with the programs and activities that are organized by your program provider, you'll have plenty of opportunities to make friends and do all sorts of fun things in an English-speaking context.
So, studying abroad through St. Thomas not only pushed me out of my comfort zone and forced me to understand and accept different cultures and different people, it also gave me a new sense of confidence in my education and my abilities post-graduation. Coming back knowing that St. Thomas students who study abroad have a higher rate of full-time employment also compels me to help you study abroad, and gives me more confidence in my abilities post-graduation and finding a job.
You actually do not need to leave the United States to study abroad. There are so many opportunities within our own country to learn. One opportunity looks like going to our nation's capital in DC and talking about politics at a federal level. Another opportunity looks like canoeing down the entire Mississippi River, studying environmentalism and politics in America's heartland. All of these skills that you'll gain in the United States are just as easily accessible through these programs than they would be outside of the United States.
Well, a lot of students think it's too expensive to study abroad. However, a lot of students don't realize that you can use your regular financial aid you get through university. There are study abroad specific scholarships, travel grants, a lot of options for low-income students for them to get that extra help. And a lot of students also don't realize that it can sometimes be cheaper to study abroad than study on campus. And there are also some personal financing strategies that they can use in preparation for their study abroad program.
We have a study abroad program for every single major at St. Thomas. We also offer programs in the fall semester, spring semester, summer, and J-term. So if you get started on your 4-year plan early, there's really no reason that you won't be able to make study abroad work for you. Often when you're abroad, you can take core classes and major classes, and professors here are super supportive of making those courses transfer for something that'll count for your major or minor here. So get started on that 4-year plan early and make sure that you study abroad because it can work for you.
Okay. So, they covered a couple of kind of basic things about study abroad. Did anybody hear anything that was surprising or what you didn't expect? Yeah. So, a lot of times we'll use the terms study away or, off-campus study programs, but certainly, there are opportunities within the U.S. as well. Some of those we have through some partners that we work with. Other times, faculty will lead like some J-term programs. We've done some geology courses in the American Southwest, things like that, that are really cool experiences as well. And we approach it with the same kind of experiential engagements with the local community that we work with a study abroad program. Yeah, cool. So I'm going to go over a few more kind of frequently asked questions to give you an idea of what study abroad is all about. And then at the end, we'll have a little bit of time if you have some questions. If you have something like really pertinent to what we're talking about, go ahead and raise your hand, and I'll try to answer it then if that makes sense. So as mentioned in the video, you don't have to know a language prior to studying abroad. In many instances, I would say most instances, you will still be taking your coursework in English. We do require that students take a language in non-predominantly English-speaking locations. We ask them to take at least one language course because language and culture are really so intertwined. But the rest of their courses they can take in English. If you are somebody who is particularly interested in developing language skills, we have language-intensive courses that you can take when you study abroad. There's some programs that really focus on that language development. For folks who do have some language experience already, there are opportunities to take your other coursework in that language. So if you've been studying Italian since junior high, and you're continuing to take Italian classes here at St. Thomas, you have opportunities to, maybe you're a business major, you can take a business communications course in Italian or something like that, right? So there are those sorts of opportunities as well. What are some of the benefits of studying abroad? I could probably do a whole session about the benefits. They range quite a bit, and they are pretty profound. And those of you who have studied abroad or had a student study abroad probably know some of this already or saw some of this already in your lives. But as we heard in the video, a lot of times students come home with a higher sense of confidence. They're in situations where they're learning to problem solve, they're encountering new things, they're pushing themselves outside of their comfort zone. So probably one of the number one things we hear from students is, oh, I feel so much more confident now, or I'm willing to speak up in situations or share my opinion more, things like that. There are also all kinds of other opportunities too about, of course, engaging with people who are different than you, right? And so in all these experiences, folks who are engaging with other cultures can build these intercultural skills that really are going to be valuable regardless of what you end up doing after you leave St. Thomas. And certainly are even applicable here on campus, right? Inside the classroom, bringing outside perspectives from what you experienced, or being able to engage with folks from different backgrounds, international students here at St. Thomas, etc. There's also all kinds of other things too, like students who study abroad have a higher rate of retention and graduation. This is sort of nationally speaking. They also tend to have more campus involvement. Also, particularly here at St. Thomas, students who have studied abroad have seen a higher rates of employment post-graduation as well. So the academic components, the student development components that occur when you study abroad with intention really are designed to develop the whole student. And so there are all kinds of wonderful benefits you can see, some more tangible than others. So when and where can I study abroad? We have over 300 different study abroad options for students at St. Thomas, whether that's one of our faculty-led St. Thomas managed programs, or if that's one with one of our affiliate providers that we partner with. There are some programs, as in the video mentions, you can stay here in the US, or you can go abroad. First-year students can study abroad as well. I didn't know if you knew that, but first-year students can go on J-term programs. And then once you have sophomore year status, that opens up the eligibility to do semester programs, academic year programs, and summer programs as well. So on that note, you can study abroad pretty much any time during the year. And so that provides a lot of flexibility for students as they're trying to navigate athletics or involvement here on campus or the timing with employment here in the US, etc. So we can be flexible about when a student studies abroad as well. There are, so essentially there's no right time to study abroad. A lot of times folks say, oh, when's the best time to study abroad? It really depends. It depends on your major, it depends on how ready you feel to engage in a study abroad experience. It depends on what you're involved with on campus. Part of our advising process is to work with students to kind of answer those questions and help them discover for themselves when the best time to study abroad is. So another common question has to do with how much study abroad costs. Some really good news is when you study abroad for a semester or year-long program, financial aid applies for when you study abroad. And so that helps make the cost of a semester study abroad experience pretty comparable to when you are studying here on campus, right? When we're looking at those billable costs, that helps make it really comparable, which is awesome. We also have a lot of scholarship opportunities for study abroad specifically. So we have scholarships that St. Thomas has that you can apply for. You also can apply to scholarships that your particular program may be offering. And I would say most of our affiliate programs do in fact offer a wide range of scholarships. There's also some nationally available scholarships as well too. And part of our job advising students is to learn a little bit more about them so we can connect them with those national scholarships as well as they're eligible for them. So all that would be in addition to the financial aid they receive for attending St. Thomas. We also work really closely with the Office of Financial Aid, so it's a great resource for students when they're thinking about studying abroad, as they're looking at their programs, to touch base with somebody in the Office of Financial Aid to kind of go over what are the scholarships they get at St. Thomas, take a look at the program costs, and you can actually kind of crunch the numbers together. So another question is, will I graduate on time? As I kind of alluded to before, we do everything we can to help make study abroad not just attractive, but really accessible and attainable for all St. Thomas students if they want to make that a part of their St. Thomas experience. And so study abroad by design can be integrated. So students can pick which, as I talked about before, they can pick which term works best for them. We have lots of different program models. So we have these St. Thomas programs that are designed just for St. Thomas students, and you go as a cohort. They're led by St. Thomas faculty. We also partner with affiliate partners as well. And so these are study abroad organizations and or universities abroad that we have partnerships with, that St. Thomas students can go and participate on these programs, along with other students coming from schools all over the U.S. as well. And there are all kinds of additional things that you can add to your experience as well. So you can do internships, you can do volunteer opportunities, etc. I think I'll talk about that in a little bit. The earlier that students have conversations with their academic advisors about wanting to study abroad, the easier it is to fit into their four-year plan. So, we as an office recommend very strongly that even if you have no idea where you want to go, even if you have no idea what major you're going to do yet, it's best to let your academic advisor know, I want to study abroad when I'm here at St. Thomas. And that way, when your student starts mapping out their four-year plan and looking at courses to take and when to take them, they can take that into consideration and think about which term might work best for them to study abroad. The other thing I want to mention too is that our office also works really well with the different schools and departments across campus to integrate the courses from study abroad to count for requirements here at St. Thomas. And so part of our job, in conjunction with academic advising and the different departments on campus, is to identify courses that will work well for equivalence here at St. Thomas. And so we have a database students can look at pre-approved courses. We have an easy system for students to use to send syllabi to their departments. So we really try to make that academic side of course counting for requirements here at St. Thomas as easy as possible for students. So along those lines, is there a program for my major? Well, given that we have over 300 programs, we definitely have something for everyone. So again, I really stress that earlier your student starts talking about it with their advisor, the earlier they do planning, the easier it will be to take major or minor courses when they study abroad. And depending on what kinds of credit your student is coming in with, depending on what their major is, or when they want to study abroad, they might also think about saving some of their core requirements for studying abroad as well, because a lot of those can be met when you study abroad. So it doesn't have to be all major and minor courses when you're on your program. You can definitely do some planning to have a mix, or even have your study abroad experience particularly focused on those core requirements. So, what can you do to support your student? There's a couple of different things. We have an event calendar on our website. We will also post updates on particularly Instagram, also a little bit on Facebook too. Whenever we have advising sessions, program-specific info sessions, other events, when we have partners coming to campus, our study abroad fairs, our JTOM open house, we'll be posting all of these on our website and on social media. So we encourage you students to check our webpage and also to follow us on Instagram so they can stay up to date on all those things. We also do some kind of cool fun events as well throughout the year if they're interested in that. But yeah, these are events that are a great place for students to start learning about the process, how to search through their options. We also have a St. Thomas Family newsletter where we will regularly share information about what's coming up on the schedule for study abroad, whether that's upcoming deadlines or other events for students who may be interested in them. So again, the other thing you can do is really just, if you can really hammer this home with your students, remind them, encourage them to start planning early, right? Because the earlier you plan, the easier the process is. It is not impossible to last minute study abroad. We certainly encounter those students every year, but it's so much easier and less stressful for you and your student if you start early. And really that gives us the flexibility and the time to line them up with a program that's really catered for them, right? We have all these different programs. The earlier we start, the more we can be precise with, you know what, these are your interests, this is who you are as a student, and this is a program that we think will not only, interest you, but help you develop, right? And we'll guide those students to to identify those programs. So that is my, I've got just a couple more things that I want to add before we jump into questions. I know we're hitting 3 o'clock, but I also know we had kind of a late start. So if you can bear with me for just a couple more minutes. I talked about some of the benefits already. So just to reiterate, study abroad teaches students how to deal with ambiguity, navigate new situations, and it's a great opportunity for students to kind of do some reflection and learn about themselves. They see themselves and how they respond to different situations and different stimuli in a totally different context than what they're accustomed to here in the U.S. And that can be really profound for students if they take the time to do reflection when they study abroad. And so that's something that we could also ask you to encourage, is for students to really be intentional and reflect while they're on their study abroad experience. And we have engagement opportunities online with students to facilitate some of that kind of reflection while they're studying abroad. As our communities become more global, it's really important for students to be learning these sorts of intercultural skills that really, I would say pretty much any employer is going to look at and say, that's the kind of person I want working for me. So, as I kind of alluded to before, study abroad is not just taking courses in another place, and it's not just to travel, right? There are so many cool opportunities that you can incorporate into your study abroad experience. You can do internships for credit when you study abroad. You have opportunities to do field work in the locations where you're studying. You can engage with the local community through volunteering and service learning. If you're interested in doing research, either independent or as part of an ongoing research project, you can get connected with that when you study abroad as well. And of course, as I mentioned before, there's also language immersion. So if you're more of a quantitative kind of thinker, another way to think about how study abroad is really integrated into the St. Thomas experience. I'm curious, what do you think is the national, what's the percentage of students, undergrad students who study abroad in the U.S.? I heard 10%. Anyone else want to guess? 25. 2. Okay. Cool. Well, the middle was right. It's 10%, right? Which is not a lot when you think about that, right? Barely double digits. At St. Thomas, our participation in study abroad is way higher. We're much closer to, depending on the year, about half of undergrad students, right? That's a lot, and that's way above the national average. And there's a reason for that. It's because it's a priority that we have here at St. Thomas. And it's a testament to how we really incorporate that, again, into the student experience. So a couple of programs that I just want to highlight. As I mentioned, we have these St. Thomas Run programs that are specifically for St. Thomas students. But then we also have all of these hundreds of affiliate programs that students can do to enroll at a local university or study at a study center, etc. These are some of our St. Thomas signature programs. We have a couple in Rome. I don't know if you know, but we have our Bernardi campus in Rome that students can use as a sort of a home hub for the Rome programs. We also have the London Business Semester, as we've got an alum in the audience. And then we just added our new Limerick program as well. That's going to be unrolling in 2025. And I think this also shows too that as times change, as we make connections and look at what students are interested in, we continue to develop programming for our students as well. I'll add too, every single year we have a whole slate of faculty-led J-term programs, and those are released every February. The preceding February, we let you know what the next January's programs are. Some of those run every year, some of them are one and done, so it really can vary from year to year. So that is the end of my spiel, but I'd love to take just a minute or two, and I know we're over, but I know we got a late start, so if anyone has any burning questions, I'd be very happy to answer them now. Yes?
What year is most common for students to study abroad?
Yeah, so again, that really varies. Historically it's been kind of junior year. I think we're seeing a lot more going earlier now. And so I think it's a little bit more evenly spread with sophomore year, junior year. Freshman year, not as common because there are fewer options. But again, those J-terms are a great way for first years to kind of get that experience, or at least dip their toe in the study abroad experience. We do also get seniors studying abroad as well, absolutely. But typically sophomore year, junior year, yeah. And there's some strategic timing depending on your major or what you're doing on campus, etc. Other questions?
What is the J-term for this January?
We've got a slate of programs. We had, at our info table, I think we had a list. You can also look on our website. We list the current J-terms that are still open and accepting spots. Some of them have already filled up from interest because they have limited spacing. So I don't know off the top of my head exactly which ones are for sure open. I manage one of them, so I know for sure St. Thomas in Cairo is open. So if you're a student is interested in taking courses with fellow Tommies and local Egyptian students for a variety of classes, Cairo could be a good option. That's my little personal plug. There are definitely other J-terms that still have spaces. Yeah, maybe I'll do one more question and then I'll wrap things up. Or if there are none. Cool. Well, thank you all so much for your attention. I hope you will all encourage your students to take advantage of this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.